Have you ever watched one of those ghost hunting shows and thought, man, I could totally do that for a living? You know, it sounds like the dream job, right? Exploring the unknown, chasing down the unexplained. But what does it really take to turn a passion for the paranormal into an actual profession? Well, it turns out the biggest monsters you have to fight aren't ghosts, they're people.
So, let's just ask the big question right up front. Can ghost hunting really be a 9-to-5 job? I mean, with a real salary, benefits, a business card that says paranormal investigator? That's the core idea we're going to dive into.
And to figure that out, we're going to follow the journey of somebody who actually tried to make it happen. So, meet Dakota Frandsen. He's a pretty well-known investigator who found himself smack in the middle of a really ambitious and, as you'll see, a very dramatic experiment.
All right, so Section 1, a new kind of job.
The way they tried to pull this off was with a startup, which our sources just called the company. And its mission for this field was pretty revolutionary. The goal was to build a business that could actually support full-time employees, taking paranormal research out of the world of hobbyists and volunteers and into the world of professional careers.
So let's look at the company's grand plan. And Frandsen, well, he was right at the center of it all. He was recruited because he had this big international reputation, which was really boosted by a viral encounter at Loch Ness back in 2018. But he wasn't just some guy on the team. No. He rose all the way up to executive director and partner. He was the one tasked with making the whole thing, well, professional.
But you know, while the team was out there hunting for ghosts, a totally different kind of haunting started to take shape. And this one was coming from inside the company. The cracks started to show almost right away. The mission was supposed to be about research, but the sources point to this just toxic mix of internal drama. You had these clashing egos on the board of executives, which led to all these power struggles. And before long, personal agendas started poisoning the entire well, completely undermining what the company was supposed to be about. And then, wow, things got so much worse. The company's reputation was absolutely shattered when high-ranking members started facing severe criminal accusations. We're talking accusations that reportedly led to actual imprisonment. This wasn't just office politics anymore. This was a full-blown crisis.
So this crisis basically split the company right in two. On one side, you had a leadership faction that was allegedly trying to suppress all the information and bully any critics into silence. And on the other side, you had the whistleblowers. Frandsen and one of his partners decided they had to expose the mistreatment and the corruption that they were seeing.
So what was the final nail in the coffin? Well, according to the report, it all came down to romantic entanglements between key members that were fueling this really oppressive behavior. The whole situation got so toxic and so complex, apparently with innocent children caught in the crossfire, that they just had to call a truce. The only way to stop the damage was to let the company completely collapse.
But you know, failure can be a powerful teacher. And this collapse, it really wasn't the end of the story. It was more like the start of a brand new chapter, one built on some very expensive lessons.
So Frandsen's journey through all this is just remarkable. Think about it. He goes from viral fame in 2018 to becoming the director of the company. Then he turns into the whistleblower who exposes all of its corruption. And today, he's leading a brand new reformed organization. I mean, that's quite a trajectory. And that brings us to his next big move. Rebuilding, but this time with a completely new blueprint. One that was specifically designed to avoid making the exact same mistakes.
And the difference between the old venture and the new one is just stark. The company was plagued by these inefficient, broken systems. So the new venture, Bald and Bonkers Network LLC, just dismantled all of them. The old company was reactive, totally fueled by ego. The new one is proactive. It actually uses psychology to manage conflict. It's a fundamental shift, trying to build something healthy and effective instead of something toxic that's just doomed to collapse.
And here's the absolute core of that new strategy. Frandsen started putting practices into place to actually study the psychological profiles of his team members. The whole idea is to understand potential friction points and then deal with conflicts before they can escalate into these company-destroying dramas. It's a fascinating shift, isn't it? From investigating the paranormal to investigating their own team dynamics first.
But the story isn't over.
That mission to professionalize the field and all the drama from the past, well, that's very much unfinished business. And get this, here's the final twist. Reports are now suggesting that the original company is being resurrected. It might have a new name, but according to the source material, a lot of the very same people from that first failed attempt are involved.
So Frandsen's stance on this? It's firm. While he still supports the idea of professionalizing the field, he refuses to rejoin. He says he simply cannot endorse a venture that has failed to resolve the very human issues that caused it to implode in the first place.
And this just leaves us with a fascinating final question. For a field like paranormal research to become truly legit, what's the bigger obstacle to overcome? Is it proving the existence of the unknown? Or is it conquering the timeless and maybe more terrifying challenges of our own human nature? Ego, power, and conflict. It's something to think about.